What's happening, y'all? Welcome back. Wake Up Barstool, hour number 2 here on FS1. And so one of the coolest parts about this job is every now and then we get these sort of bucket lists sort of guests. And if you're someone like me that loves football, played O-line, and loves passionate film breakdowns, then there is literally no one better on the internet to follow and to watch. And I am so excited that we are now joined by Brian Baldinger, Baldy NFL on social media. The man, dude, does everything. Baldy, what's up, brother? How we doing here on this Friday?
I'm good, guys. Good, man. I saw that. I saw the best defense in football play last night, led by Will Anderson, and that kind of got me percolating early this morning, going back and rewatching it and just seeing the carnage that they created out there in that field last night.
Man, it was carnage, bro. That was a hard-hitting game. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about this because in my mind, I've just had the Broncos. Okay, they're the best defense in the NFL. The sack numbers are absolutely out of control. They're absurd. But is it actually the Texans, in your opinion?
I think they're just more physical. I mean, look, the Broncos have, they've got a nice blueprint for what they're doing. But I watched Josh Allen, just get beat up last night. He was sacked 8 times. He was hit 12 or 14 times. But literally, they didn't blitz at all. They don't need to blitz.
Yeah.
Their front four, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, Mario Edwards, Danico Autry, the whole group, Derek Barnett. They're 8 deep, and they just keep coming at you. And literally, they play everybody back, and then they just, they wore those bright red Cardinal jerseys and uniforms last night. It looked like there was just blood in the water all night watching that, It was just a shark fest.
Yeah, it fires you up. Baldy, okay, before we get into more specifics, I've always wondered this from afar. You watch so much film. It feels like there's not a college or NFL game that goes by that you don't have a breakdown or an opinion on. What does the average Brian Baldinger day look like? How are you just in the lab 24/7, just in that room right there, breaking it all down?
A lot of coffee. What happened, honestly, was I started doing this thing, 7 or 8 years ago, and I turned in my flip phone and got an iPhone. And I should join the revolution. I didn't want to. I fought it for a long time. I'm like, So we started putting a couple clips up, and it caught on real quick. The players liked it. The coaches commented on it. And the fans liked it. So it kind of grew. But what happened was, if you left the New Orleans Saints out, just because they were just dreadful to watch, the fans would get all ticked off, because you got good players in every team. Cam Jordan, So it got to the point where if you left one of the teams out, they would get pissed at you, and that's not right. There's good players on bad teams. So then I started to go, how do I watch 16 games or 14 games?
Yes.
Depending. So I just started going, okay, if I can start on Sunday night, I will, if it's possible. If I was doing a game in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and I just stayed at SoFi Stadium. And I just stayed there till the red eye took me back home. And then I just grabbed a cup of coffee, came right in the film room. So I got to jump. And then it's literally 15 hours on Monday, 15 hours on Tuesday, and sometimes 15 hours on Wednesday.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of time.
Because
there's really no shortcut. You don't know what you're going to miss if you're just skipping through this stuff.
Man, that's impressive.
That's why he's the best.
He's got a full work week by Tuesday.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So I just want to talk a little bit about Jalen Hurts. It's something that's been talked about a lot this season.
Yeah.
And you've seen him struggle, and you've seen him kind of lean on their run game, but it hasn't been pretty. But they're still somehow winning games. So what is going on with Jalen Hurts, in your opinion, just from the passing perspective for the Eagles?
Well, he won a Super Bowl last year, right? And they won 18 games last year, and he was the Super Bowl MVP. And during that time, he averaged about 21 passes a game because they had the best rushing attack and the best runner in football in Saquon. So he's playing the same way this year. It's just that they're not running the ball as well. But, to start the game last week, there was 5 drop passes like that one right there. 5 drop passes in a game. Now, nobody wants to talk about that. Devontae Smith drops one right there. But the thing is that he's the only he's thrown the fewest interceptions in this league. He's thrown 1. he's not going to put the ball in harm's way. Not when the defense is playing as well as it is, and it's been retooled with Jalen Phillips and a healthy Jalen Carter and Nakobe Dean coming in at linebacker. He knows he's got as good a defense there is in football. He knows if he doesn't turn the ball over, even if they don't look pretty doing it, they're going to have a chance to get to 8-2, where they're at. And so, like, he could throw some comebacks to A.J. Brown. He could have thrown and completed a couple deep balls to Saquon and A.J., but the wind was howling in Philadelphia on Sunday night against Detroit. So, he didn't connect on some of those deep shots that he normally does. So he's just going to be really careful with the ball. And the outside noise, anybody that's met Jalen Hurts, like, he's really good at blocking it all out.
Yep.
And if his teammates are whining in front of the locker, and AJ's not whining, he's just saying, look, if we want to win another Super Bowl, we can't play at this level. We got to play better. And he's not wrong either. So I live in Philly. This is good for Philadelphia, guys. Yep. Honestly, they're winning games, and they got all this controversy going on. And, this is your first question. So it's good in Philly. Like, everybody's happy. The media's happy. The fans are bitching. The fans are booing, and they're winning. Like, that's the world in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Similar question. Another team with a lot of noise around the quarterback finding ways to win is the Chicago Bears. I'm a Chicago guy. I believe in Caleb. I want you to make me believe in him further. So what do you got on Caleb and the Bears, and do you think he can carry them into the playoffs?
I think he can carry them into the playoffs. Now, they play Pittsburgh in Soldier Field. I don't know. You're a Bear fan. You tell me the last time a game was this big, in late November in Chicago. I can't remember. I don't remember the last time. Might have to go back to Urlacher days.
Yeah, it's maybe 2018. And it is Aaron Rodgers supposedly coming in. I think he's going to play. So it is terrifying to set that up. But it's like, but I want to feel better about this game.
I'll tell you a quick story about Caleb. He went to high school in D.C., and I was at a quarterback collective high school football camp. Jaden Daniels was there. Drake May was there. Neusmeyer was there. And Caleb was there. So they had me set up like a film room. And one by one, these guys would come in the film room, and I would just put up coverages and how do you attack this? And, you put Caleb to the test, back in 5 years ago in high school. Like, he knew, and without being even cocky, like, this is what I would do. This, I know Mahomes did this, but I might do, like, he already understood coverages and how to attack. And then you saw his arm talent. Even in high school, you're like, this guy is going to be really good. And he needed a really good coach to really coach him hard, because he had flaws. Like, he was way too frenetic when he played, and he was sacked way too much, and some of it was his fault last year. But now they've got a real committed offense to the run game, which has been very good. He's playing under center, a lot of play action passes. They've got 2 tight ends that can block. They've got 2 running backs that can run. They fixed the interior of the offensive line, and slowly it's coming on. And so he's still not completing some of the throws I think he's capable of making. So there's still some development to go, but he's giving them the chance to win every week. And the offense it used to be unwatchable. I didn't know what they were doing last year with him. It was horrible. But it's really, you can see the growth, with him right now. And I think it's encouraging, because I don't think we've come close to seeing the best of Caleb.
Is that a real quick follow-up here? Is that Ben Johnson then? I mean, a lot of that answer sounds like advocating and validating the Johnson hire.
Oh, no question. I think a big part of it is Ben Johnson. Now, they've done a lot of things to improve the offense. Rome Odunze was a great pickup, and Colston Loveland is coming on. But I think a lot of it is just Ben and the buttons he pushes and how he does it. The backup quarterback was getting more attention in preseason for a reason, and got a new contract in preseason for a reason. Like, that was a button he pushed to tell Caleb, like, look, you got to stay in the pocket. You got to win from the pocket. You got to keep your eyes down the, so he started doing a lot of those things. Last year at this time, after 10 games, he'd been sacked 41 times. This year, after 10 games, he's been sacked 16. The sacks are way down. The decision-making is much clearer and cleaner than it ever was last year. I mean, 3rd and 3 last year, they would throw a go ball 50 yards down the field.
Out of bounds.
That was wrong.
Yeah.
You guys watched it last year. That's not happening this year.
Baldy, help me with this. So the producers, we were always they're coming up with like great NFL topics to talk about and whatnot. And one of the questions that they wanted us to kick around that we haven't gotten to yet is the inconsistency of the Detroit Lions. And admittedly, I haven't watched the film on every Detroit Lions game, so I found myself at a loss. Like I didn't feel like I had a great insight or answer to it. How would you explain the mercurial nature of this year's Lions team thus far?
Well, they lost. I mean, nobody wants to talk about it. When you lose Frank Ragnow, I mean, he's the best center in football. I mean, he retires at age 29.
Yep.
Like that. Look, and nothing against Glasgow. He's a good player. He's not Frank Ragnow. So, last week, there was a lot of pressure right up the middle. They had 5 balls batted down by Philadelphia. And they're a big team that likes to hit their crossers in the middle of the field. Amon-Ra St. Brown is as good as anybody in this business, catching these crossing routes. Well, 5 of them got batted down and 1 got batted for an interception. And so I think some of it is still the loss of Frank Ragnow.
Yeah.
Like, he was just that good. He's 6'5". He was great in the run game. He could handle Jalen Carter and, Jordan Davis inside. I think they struggled a little bit last week with that. And then physically, Philadelphia, they were just better. Jalen Phillips and Nolan Smith, and they were just better than Detroit last week. And you could see the frustration with Jared Goff. I mean, look, they go for it on 4th down 5 times. You don't convert one of them?
Yeah.
I know that's Dan Campbell's mantra, and that's what he's been known for, and it's cost him in some playoff losses, but that's they're going to be aggressive. That's fine. Sometimes you got to pick who you're going to be aggressive against. And that backfired on them last week. But it also defensively, I've seen games this year where they've played 5 backups in the secondary, including 2 safeties that had really never played before. And that's where they're at defensively right now with some of the injuries that they've had. And I don't think they really still have a rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson the way Houston does with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson.
Real quick, Baldy. Brock Purdy, he's back, and they got a game against the Panthers on Monday Night Football. What are you expecting from him kind of coming off this injury? Obviously, they played well last week. I know it's going to be kind of a curve for him to keep getting better each week. What are you expecting out of the Niners on Monday Night Football this week?
A couple things. One, Mac Jones played great when he was in there. They won a lot of games because of Mac Jones. And so the question was, should you put Brock Purdy back in there? And, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and Jed York, they basically said, Brock Purdy's our starter, and they were firm about it. And then when you watched Brock last week, he was the starter. He was amazing last week. And if to your question, if he gets better than what he was a week ago, like this was a little wheel route by Kittle. This is, a little post corner to Kittle here for a touchdown. But these throws were designed to go in there. They beat man coverage with linebackers. McCaffrey beat a rookie, Cody Simon, in the end zone. Like, he didn't miss. Like, if you went to a state fair and you wanted to win the biggest teddy bear, you'd put Brock Purdy in there knocking down milk bottles. He knocked them all down last week.
Okay, this just came to mind when you were talking about the Mac Jones, Brock Purdy situation. What do you make of Davis Mills, C.J. Stroud? Is there anything there? Mills going 3-0 as a starter, putting up some pretty good games, or is that just us trying to create narrative where there is none?
CJ's a starter.
Okay.
Last night the defense carried him. He started the game. I think he was 1 for 8. Start the game. He wasn't going real good, but he came back and he threw the 2 touchdowns. That's all they needed. That's all that defense needs is you get them to 20 points, they're going to win, and that's just where it's at right now. But you hope your backup can win games. They won 3 in a row.
Yeah,
and they were dead in the water and they were deep in the crypt, and here they are. They got a winning record right now. And so I think it's been fantastic that Davis has played like this, and he hasn't hurt the team. He's not turning the ball over. And so credit Davis Mills, but C.J. Stroud is you'll see that Nico Collins connection come right back. And if the offensive line can kind of play like they did, they're not very good up front in Buffalo. And so they had a running game last night. Woody was really good.
Yeah.
So, but CJ's a starter when he gets back from this concussion.
So there are two teams right now, one in the AFC, one in the NFC, that are having very good years with quarterbacks that were once thrown out into the garbage. It's Sam Darnold, the Seahawks. It's Daniel Jones and the Colts. Do you believe in both of these teams going forward? Is there more one that you believe in more than the other when it comes to a playoff type of situation? What's your read on these guys?
Well, I'm going to see Indianapolis against Kansas City this week. They're coming off a bye week. Both of them have they're both great reclamation projects from where they were drafted and what they did and where they are. Daniel Jones is a great fit right now for Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. Likewise, Sam. I believe more in Seattle than Indianapolis right now because I think Seattle's defense is much better. I think Seattle's defense can carry them, even if Sam Darnold, turns the ball over like he did last week against the Rams. Not all of them were his fault, but nonetheless, they all fall on the quarterback. So he's really been guilty of turning the ball over the last 2 weeks, even against Arizona, and a blowout win against Arizona last week or 2 weeks ago. He still turned the ball over. So I think those things can happen. I feel like Seattle's defense can bail them out better than Indianapolis's defense, especially without DeForest Buckner in the middle of that defensive line right now.
Baldy, I feel like I could talk to you for just hours and hours and just pepper you with queries, but we'll end here. You mentioned reclamation projects. There could be an impending situation there with J.J. McCarthy. It's been a pretty disastrous first few starts in Minnesota. I find it very interesting that Kevin O'Connell, somebody who obviously knows offense so in depth, fully threw his weight behind J.J. McCarthy. What's your read on J.J.? And I know he's not a finished product, but should it look better than it has thus far?
Well, you're a Bears fan. You saw how many throws he missed last week. He missed a lot of throws. Yeah. And, it's hurting the team. And, Justin Jefferson is probably doing everything he can to bite his tongue and not say anything. But this is a very good team around the quarterback. It's built. I mean, they won 14 games last year, with Sam Darnold. It's a very good team. It's a better team around the quarterback than it was a year ago. They're better on the defensive line. Wow. They're better on the offensive line than they were a year ago. They should be better than they are. They're struggling at the quarterback position. And so it's a question of how patient you're going to be. I mean, you might have to eat this season. It's going down the drain really, really fast right now. To lose at home to Philadelphia with Carson Wentz, to lose at home against Chicago, with JJ, it has not gone well. And so I don't know. You can't keep missing throws like this. I don't care what the name of the back of the jersey is or what year in the league you are. They should be better offensively than they are right now.
Baldy NFL, Brian Baldinger. Check out Baldy's breakdowns on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. They're absolutely incredible. Baldy, cannot thank you enough for giving us so much time this morning. I know you're a very busy man. Have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the turkey. And, hopefully we'll talk to you again in the future.
Let's do it. All right, guys. Yeah, have a great weekend yourself, man. It's going to be fun.
Thanks, Baldy.
Thanks, Baldy.
Dude.
You bet.
3 15-hour film days to start the week.
He's the man.
Absolutely
you gotta
insane.
love football.
Gotta love ball.
Gotta love it.
Ball guy.
And I do.